Hello everyone, welcome to the weekly video recording sessions again. So as usual, we are going to review the market outlook and take a look at the US market and see how it will progress for the next week. And then we are going to look at the Singapore market, and I'd like to update you on some of the stocks that we discussed last week. Now, without further ado, let's look at the chart right now. So on your screen right now, you can see the Dow Jones. And if you remember last video, we make some projections, and the smaller arrow over here projects the short-term movement where Dow could be heading. And as you can see, last Friday, we are seeing Dow hitting towards that level. So can Dow hit this level early tomorrow, which is the Monday night trading, before it start to pull back? Okay, so why do I say that? Is because FOMC is coming again, and usually the market tend to sell when the Fed meets to discuss the interest rate and the tapering of the QE program. So let's see whether it will continue to hit our target. Move on to NASDAQ 100. We are looking at NASDAQ having a nice rebound after a 2-day weakness. It start to close nicely as a white candle. And of course, the minor resistance right now, I would like to shift it up to 15,185. So if NASDAQ is able to break above this level, our target for NASDAQ will be 15,439. So it will be interesting if on next week we can see a breakout. And of course, if the market outperform, we see 15,439 a very much reality. So for S&P 500, right, after S&P hit our projected target, we make a bold projection at 4,542, and S&P 500 is on the way there. You can see a very nice gap up, and then inked out the S&P 500 inked out a nice white candle over here. So we shall see what is going to happen tomorrow. So if S&P 500 doesn't close up this gap, there is still chance to continue move up higher. Now, of course, FOMC is still going to affect NASDAQ and S&P 500. So these are the things that we are going to watch out for next week. And if S&P 500 were to pull back before it moves up again, we do expect now 4,441 to form some support. And for NASDAQ, of course, if the breakout 15185 didn't happen, the minor support right now that we are looking at is 14972. So next week will be an interesting week. Let's move to the STI. We see STI, after hitting its resistance, did not manage to break out successfully and start to pull back. Well, we can see the STI close lower, also partially due to the dividend that was XD, I would say, the XD date for the both DBS and OCBC that also resulted in lower STI movement. So technically, we may not want to consider that as a bearish momentum, but from the price level per se, we are looking at the index closing lower. So how do we treat this is that if the index is able to close back above 3182, then of course that dividend payout from DBS and OCBC should be negated, and then we can see a rebound coming back towards the resistance. So I'd just like to redraw the chart right now. So we shall plot a single resistance here, where STI has hit the high of around 3208. And then we shall have a support here at 3126. If STI were to close back up at around 3186, then we have a minor support at 3156. But if STI fail to rebound to around this level, then we are looking at STI to continue lower to retest support level at 3126. Okay, so next week it's interesting to see where STI is going to hit. So a higher closing will definitely help the index to go higher. But of course, again, FOMC will play a role as well in terms of our market movement. So we shall brace the impact if embrace the impact if it start to move lower. So if it were to move lower, what would be the potential movement from our stocks? So what are the sectors that we probably have to look out? So we are looking at the stocks over here. Let's start off with the banks. So we see DBS, as I mentioned last Friday, paid dividend of 33 cents. That resulted in some dip in the share price. But if I were to adjust the dividend, we can see that actually the index counter doesn't do quite badly. It actually closed sort of a higher, and it technically, after adjusting the chart, we can see that it is still above its previous resistance at 30.57. So this is quite a good sign. So if it's bullish, of course, the resistance to meet right now is 31.42. As if we were to test and break up from this resistance, then we shall see the uptrend continue. Now, if it doesn't, it continue lower or it move lower to test support at 3057. It is also not so bad. It may present an opportunity for us to get some of this counter going forward. So we shall see whether it will test this support or it will just rebound next week. OCBC paid a dividend of 25 cents on Friday, and we are looking at it landing at its support level at 11.95, which is a 20-day MA support and the previous major resistance turn support. This is a very, I would say, important support for OCBC, as if it can rebound from this level, it will be a very, very nice point for rebound. Okay, so if OCBC rebound strongly from there, it would present a trading opportunity, because if OCBC were to hit above 1205, around 1205, there is a chance for it to move back up to 1228. So it is important for it to close at 1205 or above. Let's move on to UOB. UOB hasn't XD as yet. So we can see UOB remains at the high with the resistance at 27.01. So for now, I will just look out for that resistance. Probably not going to participate in UOB for now, because UOB dividend is coming, and when it's going to give XD, of course, you are not very 100% sure where the price is likely to hit to. So maybe it will be best that we wait for the XD to be over, then we start to look at this counter. Now let's move on to the. So we have AEM. Last week we talked about AEM being strong, and because of the injections of the funds from Temasek, so we see a very strong, nice white candle over here. Okay, but unfortunately, it did not successfully follow through the buying action, where we can see that it went up on this particular day, on the 10th, and it did not close higher. In fact, it went lower. So it pulled back to its 20-day MA support. It is not exactly bad, okay, but if this counter can rebound from this 20-day MA support, it is actually a good opportunity for those who like to trade this counter, because if it can close at 412, then with a higher volume, probably around 4 million thereabout, and if the market built on this momentum to push towards 424 again, then we may see a subsequent breakout, and eventually the counter may move higher. So if we break out from 424, where could be the likely direction? What we are looking at is that our likely level, the level that it may target is 4.67. So let's see where this counter can hit to. Then I'd like to touch on Franken. So Franken had a very nice, I would say, nice and mixed day. Why? Because first of all, the counter in the early trading sessions was sold down, but made a very strong comeback to test this resistance at 2.24. And at one point, it broke above this resistance and traded higher to as high as 232. Then towards the end of the day, it got sell off to close lower, just below its resistance. So it's like giving me kind of a mixed feeling on this counter, where I can see some selling pressure, I can see some buying pressure. So at the end of the day, whether the buyer is stronger than the seller or the seller is stronger than the buyer. Okay, so this is where, of course, the white candle suggests that the buying on Friday, the buyer has won. But my thinking is that going forward, how is it going to be? So I'm going to rely on certain level to make a judgment call. So what are the levels I'm looking at? So of course, these two levels. So if Franken can close above 2.24 with another nice white candle, okay, then the uptrend continue, bullish momentum continues, and it has a potential to move up. I'm going to do a short-term projection. Okay, the next target will be around 240 as the Fibonacci projections project. Okay, just roughly around there. Now, if it were to close below 209, then we do expect Franken to find some support at around 199. Okay, and that may be another opportunity for those who haven't got into the bandwagon to get into the counter. So, but of course, I'm not saying that you should go in straight away when it hit 199. Going forward, we still need to see what are the signs, what are the telltale signs to tell us that the stocks still remain relevant and has the chance to rebound to go up. So we shall study the chart. Then UMS over here has announced a very strong set of results on the 13th of August after market close. So technically, we see a bullish flag over here. If the market were to follow through this result and break out, UMS has a very good chance to rally towards a projected target at about 198. Okay, so we're going to see what's going to happen on Monday. So on Friday, we also seen some counters that have announced good result but got sold down. So I'm going to move on to ISDN. Okay, ISDN has confirmed its result that it has a growth a very significant growth, but after announcing the result, the market actually pushed it down, and it gapped down and pushed all the way down to fill up this gap support. Okay, so this gap support now, it's no longer a gap support, but rather if going forward, if ISDN rebounds, right, from this level, meaning to say, because we can see Friday it closed 735, so meaning say this support now forms up, but it cannot break this level again on Monday. So if it breaks this level again on Monday, then we shall see next support at 6.8, and therefore 715 support no longer valid. So the challenges for ISDN going forward is to fill up this gap 775 and to 80 cents. Okay, if it's going to remain relevant in terms of the bullish momentum. So if you ask me why even a good set of results, the market still choose to sell it down, and the volume was extremely high, I am also unclear, unsure, and amazed. So ISDN is not the only counter that got dumped. But of course, I'm pretty confident that ISDN has a very good result and shouldn't be as bad as this performance. So going forward, just watch for this level and then and see what's going to happen for ISDN. And we are going to take a look at Nanofirm. Nanofirm announced a mixed set of results on Friday. So so what happened to Nanofirm? They have increased in revenue, so their top line increased, but their EPS, their bottom line got affected because of the expenses have incurred in setting up the Shanghai factory or Shanghai plant. So therefore, the earnings per share has gone down. So here we can see that Nanofirm, we actually were looking at it last week and waiting for it to cross above 627 to suggest a rebound from its 20-day MA, but unfortunately it did not. Instead, it went below its 20-day MA and hit further lower. So the next support to look at is 583, and if the market doesn't like it, now this counter can easily hit back this level around 550 before any recovery can happen. So going forward, this counter still have a lot of prospect where their collaboration with Temasek is still on, and then the new hydrogen economy is still potentially taking off. So let's see where this Nanofirm can rest to, right? Next, let's take a look at the property. So property related is Prodnex. So we can see that the Prodnex, after announcing good result, this counter went up but got sold down for the past few days. Right. One of the reasons is also I read a report that a broker actually downgraded Prodnex and put it to hold. So this could be the reason where Prodnex got sold down, because they were saying that Prodnex earnings has peaked and next year is not likely to be this good. So if Prodnex going lower, the support to look for is 185, 183. And in contrast, APAC Realty announced fantastic sets of results with dividend plus special dividend, and it has broken out strongly from its 86 resistance, as mentioned last week, that the chart remains strong, and if it breaks out above 86, it can continue to go higher. So last Friday it closed at 89, and if the momentum remains strong, follow-up buying happens, then we can see next result 91, which is pretty near, pretty close by, then followed by 94. So if profit taking sets in, then H6 has to lend some support to this counter in order for this counter to remain bullish. So one thing that you may want to observe is that APEC, after the breakout with strong volume, you look at this breakout, volume picks up, look at this breakout, volume picks up, look at this breakout, volumes picks up. After that, it tends to have some pullback action. So would it repeat again? So probably yes. But then hopefully it can move to 9.1 to 9.4 before it start to pull back. All right, so let's see what's going to happen. Then we're going to move to city development. So many analysts start to comment on the report city development has posted recently. And if you look at the technical aspect of this counter, is that this counter has pierced up its 20-day MA with increased volume. That is a very good sign. Looking at MACD and stochastic, it has turned bullish. And in fact, we can see MACD line rebound off its signal line as support. So this is a bullish sign as well. Fundamentally, they were saying that CD development is below its NAV, trading at 0.7 times below its NAV. But in reality is that, in fact, all the property developer in Singapore are trading below their NAVs. So it's not new. Why they are below its NAV? Because of the capital intensity of for the project development. So when they want to develop a condo, for example, they really need a lot of capital, and then there's a lot of uncertainty ahead whether the condo can sell well or not. So that explains why most of the property developers are below its NAV. So aside from that fundamental, we shall take a look at 699, which is going to be the immediate resistance for city development. So once it breaks above, then we are looking at the 50-day MA. And once it pierces above this 50-day MA, then we are going to look at the 200 and 100-day MA resistance. So let's see whether city development can continue from this recovery. And next, we are going to take a look at SPH. So SPH, I believe most of you should know the deal. Keppel Corp has offered to privatize the property of SPH. Okay, after SPH has announced that they are going to sort of like make SPH Media as a non-profit organization. So the counter definitely has a chance, as the value is around 2.09, has a chance to hit back that high, especially once the AGM convened and then the voting convened. So as per CapitaLand has traded to the value of the offer price, which is around 410. And SPH, I believe, would have the same type of movement going forward. So 188 is a support level. So this is where it may present some trading opportunity for you. Then move on to some other counters like Union Gas. So unfortunately, Union Gas did not successfully rebound from its 20-day MA, and in fact it plunged last Friday. So what causes this is because of the disappointing sets of results that Union Gas has presented. So they have presented a dip in its earnings, and therefore the market decided to sell lower. So with this, we can see the uptrend is officially over because there's no more higher low. And then for those who actually anticipated this 20-day MA rebound, right, maybe caught off guard, right, including myself. Okay, I got caught off guard by the sudden plunge. So what's going to happen next for Union Gas? I think we're going to watch for the next movement where it may find 100-day MA as support, and we're going to wait for the chart to tell us whether it's going to turn back uptrend or go downtrend first before it recover going forward. Okay, so for now, we're just going to wait what's going to happen next. Same as SGX, after the disappointing result, it plunged down and had been moving down for many days, and it has now landed just above its 100-day MA support. So if I were to refer back to its historical movement, it is not new that SGX plunge where due to its result or due to a certain reason. We can see after that it tend to go sideways and form a base. So I'm waiting for that base to happen. And once it completed the base, this is where we can enter into this strong counter and good paying dividend counter as well to look for future growth as it recovers from the earnings. So here we are looking at a sideway going forward. So will it happen? So we're going to wait patiently for that. Next, we are going to look at the opening of economy. We talked about ComfortDelGro for many weeks, and then we keep talking about 162 resistance. Can it finally break out from there? Currently, ComfortDelGro is still hovering at this resistance level, and it still have the chance to break out. So if it can break out strongly and straight away test 167, a change of trend is on the card. So can it happen? So we just wait patiently and watch what's going to happen next. Then we have SIA. The chart is looking good. The stock's holding above its 100-day MA and has a very good chance for it to retest its resistance at around 5.2. Okay, so we shall see next week whether SIA can hit at or test its resistance at 5.2. Then we have SIA Engineering. Unfortunately, its resistance seems to be a hard nut to crack. 214, you attempt to break out from there, but at the end of the day, you fail to break out. So going forward, what are we going to expect from SIA Engineering? It really has to sit above 215 and probably have to close at 218 in order to show signs of upward movement. And of course, hopefully, right, the news of or the economy can reopen faster than expected. As such, then we can see SIA Engineering, or even SETS to recover stronger and faster. So we can see SETS consolidating at this zone, this tight range where we see it has been trading between 395 to 405. So a breakout above 405 would present a very good opportunity, and the next target will be 422. Okay, so with this, I'd like to end the sessions. I hope that it is helpful to you, and then we shall continue these sessions next week. Okay, so in the meanwhile, enjoy the week and have a good day ahead.